Okay everyone, now is time to start the arrow bracelet. What you can see about this bracelet is if you look close, it looks like we took a stripe on this half and we inverted it, so it did a mirror image, and did a stripe on this side. So then it makes the shape of a V or an arrow. So for this bracelet, I would say pick out roughly 5 colors. You could do more or less, of course. The more you do, the wider it will be. I've selected these 5 colors right here for my bracelet, and I've cut them in this length that is double of my arm length again. So I start from my fingertip, go all the way to my shoulder, pinch here at the center, all the way up here again. This bracelet needs a decent amount of string. So we're gonna fold this in half like before. I'm going to set aside my extra string and my scissors. And we're gonna tie it in a loop, just like this stripe, so that way we can either tape it down, clip it to the clipboard, or clip it to a water bottle. Okay, so I'm gonna clip it into my clipboard right below or right above the knot. So since you can see we're coming in from both sides here, I need to take my colors and make sure I have one of each on each side. So for example, I need a green on each side, a white on each side, a pink on each side, and you get the picture. So I think I've got them actually split in half. Sometimes it takes longer to do that. But now what I have to do is I need to separate them and put them in the order that I want them to appear. Now we only work on one side of this bracelet at a time. So I'm actually gonna put all these off to the side, and we'll have to sort them out later, but I just wanna show you my mirror image. Because once you pick an order, you need to stick with it on both sides of the bracelet, okay? I'm gonna move this half over. So the actual making of each side of the bracelet is going to be basically identical to what we did for the stripe, in that we take our leading string, we make a 4 with the stem string, like what I have here, and we take the tail up and under, pull it through, making sure that the color we want to see, our leading string, stays on the top to make that color knot. And then we do the exact same thing twice. And just like I said with the last video, this one takes a bit to come together. So if it looks like a random assortment of knots at the beginning, that's okay, it'll fix itself later. So I finished my green, I'm gonna go to my white, same thing, make the 4, put underneath, pull it tight. Oops. Sometimes it gets tangled. Tight. Now onto the pink. Pull it tight twice. Remember, 2 knots on each string. Move on to our purple. Same thing. So now, this half of the bracelet is done for this row for now. So we're gonna sit this to the side. We're gonna pick up this side again. So I have to re-separate my strings, of course, in the order I want them to appear. So I did the brown, then the green, then the white. Oops, that's not the white one. Here's the white one. Then the pink, and then the purple. So this is where a mirror image kind of comes in. We're gonna imagine that there's a mirror down the center of this, because we're gonna make the exact same thing backwards. So instead of a regular number 4, we're gonna make a backward number 4. Okay, this is very important. If you do not do this, your right side of your arrow will not be going the right way. So then you take the tail underneath your stem string again on your leading string, and then you hold on to this, and you make sure that the brown stays on the top, so that the brown is what you see. And then we do the same thing, a second knot like that. Okay, and then the green string is done, and we move on to the white. But again, another backwards 4. Pulling it tight, backwards 4. Pulling it tight. Moving on to the pink string, the same deal. Backwards 4, underneath and around. Pulling tight. we're already on the final one for this row. Again. Okay, so if you can't tell, this part of the bracelet doesn't really look like much right now. Like I said, it just looks like a pile of knots. That's basically what it is for the beginning. It's gonna take a good 2 or 3 rows for this one to start taking form. But even though you can't tell, you've done a stripe on the left side and then a stripe on the right side. So to put it together to make the V or the arrow, we take the 2 leading strings and take one. It doesn't really matter which one you do. I make it the leading string, and then you tie 2 knots down the center to complete the row. But now we're gonna do the exact same thing as we did with the brown, but this time with the green, okay? So we take the right side and kind of toss it off to the side, and we start with the left side again. Just making sure our strings are separated once again. We're gonna go through the same process of doing 2 knots on each leading string with the regular 4 until we get to the center. Take the other green one from the left side and make that center knot. And if you look close, now that we're on the second row, the V is starting to form a bit. It's a bit hard to tell still, but we'll get it soon. Gone through every single color once, all 5. Again, you can't quite see the beginning, but as you can see that now that we're down to about the 5th row, everything is really starting to take form and it really is starting to look like an arrow. So I'm gonna show you how you would end the bracelet if you would have made as much of the pattern as I have here. Again, you're gonna need to size it up with yourself or whoever the bracelet is for to see how long the pattern needs to go and how much string you have. But just like before, we're gonna end with 2 braids right like this, so that way you can extend your bracelet if you're running low on string, and that way it can help you tie your bracelet on with a loop. So I have 5 strings here, so I'm just gonna pick 2 sets to keep in doubles. So I'll just keep the green and the brown together, and I'll keep the pink and purple together, and I'll leave the white in the center so I can braid. And again, this will be so much easier than what it is for me right now for you guys, because you'll have less string to fight with, because the braiding is much easier as you get down towards the end. Okay, and I'm gonna tie this off in a loop like before. Again, your braid's probably going to be a bit longer than mine. And you're gonna wanna make your knot nice and tight. Again, I'm not going to do that so I can go back and finish this bracelet later, but you're gonna have braid like this on each side, and you're gonna make sure that the braid is the same length on each side so it's even. And then your finished product should look something like this. And again, then you can have your braid. I keep the tails on until I tie it on. And there you have it. This is the arrow.